Have you ever seen the movie Braveheart?
Absolutely. William Wallace's speech about freedom is one of my favorites.
Awesome, I'm glad you've seen it. Keep that thought in mind. It is going to come in use later, I promise.
Hey, welcome to the Bible Story Podcast. My name is John Dravert, and my friend
Is Braden Pahowicz, and we are excited to be here with you this week.
Summer camp is coming, and we've actually started receiving registrations last week, and I think we've been receiving more registrations earlier on than ever before, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, we've had a really good response. There's some new camps, some new kind of themes to check out. So make sure you head online, covenantbay.ca to register. And we've also had a lot of staff applications. So if you're hoping to be a staff, make sure go to covenantbay.ca and also find your application there.
Yeah, we don't want you to miss out, so check it out. We believe that there is nothing more important than a growing relationship with Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we do. And on the topic of growing, we have been growing as a community, as a whole.
We have. And you might notice that we've got a few new things happening. For those of you who don't know, we're both on YouTube and on your regular podcast. So if you're wanting to check us out on YouTube, you can do that. But you're going to probably notice a few things that are changing on YouTube, more so than on the podcast. But there'll be some new things.
Yeah, it might change in how it looks, how it feels, maybe how it flows. But don't worry, it's all that so we can connect as a community together better and really help each other grow.
All right, let's get into our background for this week's episode. Now, we have been in Galatians for some time, and Paul is continuing to speak really boldly, really straightforward, matter of fact, and is just stating how it is to the Galatians, which is an area and a group of churches.
Yeah, so the state of the church specifically that Paul is writing to is not good. It's in a pretty dire place, and Paul is mentioning that actually in this letter, and he is, frustrated maybe is the best way to say it. We'll dig into it more, but the churches in Galatia, not good.
Okay, so if you haven't already taken some time, read Galatians chapter 4, verses 8 through 31, and then we're going to dive into our story right away. The big idea today is journeying together in freedom.
We see Paul here in his letters really press into the Galatians kind of in this, stern mentor, father figure type role, really matter-of-factly and a little bit still encouraging.
Yeah, and the Galatians, they started out so well. Paul was right there with them when they put their faith in God, and they enjoyed his grace, his love for them. And now things aren't really going as well.
Yeah.
And so they've lost their way, and things are a little bit uncertain right now as they move forward with God.
So Paul seems a little bit heartbroken in all of this, and I think it's because he was there when these people of Galatia, when the churches of Galatia were formed and when their faith was brought forward. It's really important to him that they succeed, that they keep the faith. So he's heartbroken, he's disappointed, and he's trying to encourage them to continue walking in freedom because it seems like they've lost their way.
Have you ever been hurt because someone you cared for or someone you looked up to in their faith began turning away from the Lord? Okay, so Braden, in the introduction, you made me, I gotta say it was a little bit awkward, but you made me put blue paint on my face, talk with this Scottish accent. We kind of talked a little bit about Braveheart and, okay, you're going to have to put some puzzle pieces together for me, probably for our audience too, because what the heck's going on here?
Okay. Well, that is because it is, John, it's one of the most beautiful cinematic moments of all time, okay? Braveheart or William Wallace he's near death, and then his men are also near death, and it's this moment of where he is gathering the people together, and he's talking about freedom, and it's pure inspiration. He delivers a speech about freedom that is powerful and touching and beautiful.
Okay. Chill. You love Braveheart. We get it.
Apparently.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So What does that have to do with today's text? Because this is the Bible Story Podcast.
Yes.
This is not the William Wallace Podcast.
True, very true.
So what does that have to do with what Paul's teaching the Galatians?
Okay, bear with me.
Okay.
Are you tracking? I think what Paul is trying to do is similar to what William Wallace was doing.
Okay.
He's encouraging and inspiring the people of Galatia to go towards freedom,
Right.
To push forward in a path that maybe they've lost or been discouraged in. And he's saying that we can find freedom in God, that the path to freedom is through God. And so he's kind of delivering this letter as his William Wallace cinematic Hollywood moment, is how I was reading it.
Do you think he had blue paint on his face like William Wallace?
Well, no, he was in prison, so
yeah.
probably some dirt. But I think it's that moment of he's actually really saying he's doing it because he cares so much about them and wants them to feel God's presence again and feel the freedom that they once felt.
So let me get this straight. So
Okay.
Paul is not telling them just to figure it out on their own,
No.
right? Like that would be kind of disastrous for any of us.
Yeah.
But what he is saying, or in maybe better word, is he's inviting them back into a relationship with himself as Paul, but also into back into a right relationship with God. He is inviting them back into these relationships, and he's inviting them, I guess, which is our big idea, to journey together in this freedom that they have in Christ, which I think is an invitation for us as well.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Paul even says that he has been in both places, that he has been on the path and off the path. He's encouraging the people of Galatia to look to him as a mentor, to follow in the things that he has learned, the things that he's already taught them before, to continue to walk in the path of God. To do this not by themselves, but together with Paul. They're looking to Paul for wisdom, just like in Braveheart, the moment of freedom and inspiration. I love it.
A growth tip is a way for each of us to grow in a relationship with Jesus.
Yes. And okay, I want to do something a little bit off the cuff.
Oh!
Yeah.
All right. So we're starting with something new.
Yeah. So for the growth tip this week, I want to start a conversation. Okay.
I like that.
So I want to start a conversation between us and between all of you.
Us and all of them.
Yes. So
Okay.
here's how it works. We are one part of the conversation. It's
Okay.
happening right now. Okay, you are the other part of the conversation, and you have to go to Instagram at Bible Story Pod and communicate with us, add some comments for us to then talk with you about. Okay, so we're going to ask a few questions, and you go to the Bible Story Pod, at Bible Story Pod on Instagram, and that's where the conversation starts. We're
Okay.
part one, and you guys are part two.
Okay, so the conversation is this, all right? What does the world say about freedom? What does how does media portray freedom? And what are your friends saying about freedom, or what are the conversations that you hear amongst family and friends about freedom? So what does the world say about it?
Part two is this. What does freedom mean to you as a child of God? And how does that differ from the last few answers that you just shared?
So start this conversation on Instagram. You can find us at Bible Story Pod. If you're meeting as a small group,
do it right now.
Do it right now.
Yeah.
Post your comments, your thoughts, and we'd love to hear from you. We'll do the same.
Yes, exactly. Hey, we love you guys. We love joining you in this way each and every week. If you think this podcast would help someone or encourage someone or challenge someone in their faith, please share it with them. We want to continue to grow this community, and you guys can help us do that.
We're praying for you, and we're praying specifically that your heart will become softer and softer to the things of God, and that it'll be aligned well with who God is and His character. Guys, have a great week, and we'll talk to you next time. Hey, welcome back to the discussion episode. We're going to get into some questions discussing the story we just heard about journeying together in freedom.
Today, we learned a really important lesson about journeying together in freedom. We learned that sometimes you step off the path, you pause on the path, maybe a tree falls down in the path. Either way, we need friends to encourage us to get back on, to keep walking in that journey, to seek out the freedom that God has given us. It's really exciting. We need people like Paul in our lives to come with us and walk that journey, knowing again that the path in God leads to ultimate freedom.
Hey guys, we had some questions during our episode and we asked you to share those on Instagram with us. Now, we have a few more questions and here's the first one. How do we as Christians stay on the path toward or with God? Hit pause and share.
Question number 2 is to think of a time when someone encouraged you to change the direction of the path you were walking. Now, share how that impacted your journey with God. Hit pause and discuss.
Question number 3. Can you think of someone you could encourage? What would that conversation look and feel like? Hit pause and share.
Thank you all for sharing and discussing these things. Freedom comes from God, and that is something that we all get to journey together in.
Hey guys, thank you. We are praying for you. Thanks for sharing together your hearts and being vulnerable, being transparent. It takes a lot of courage, but it is the only way we can grow together in our faith. So thanks for doing that. We're going to be praying for you throughout this week. Till next time,
Yep.
have a great week.